everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's day 15 of my book Ween, and we've been talking about November releases. And it's not gonna be only thrillers. It's gonna be like my usual, month-to-month releases, as I have done so in the past. Let's get going. My first book is Ship of Spells by H. Leoton Dixon. A Morscard mage ascends in a ship, a secret that could drown empires. When innocent blue mage Honor Ren is rescued from the wreckage of her first naval post, she expects death or disgrace. Instead, she wakes aboard the Touchstone, a mythic vessel whispered of in dockside ballads and boiler rooms alike. With the crew of misfits, a mysterious elven captain, and a mission tied to the dread wall, the crumbling barrier that has kept the overland another sea from open war for 100 years. But the tragedy that sank her last ship didn't just take lives, it left something behind. Comes out on November 4th. My next book is I, Medusa by Ayana Gray. Many has spent her whole life as a footnote in someone else's story, out of place next to her beautiful immortal sisters and her parents, both gods, albeit minor ones. She dreams of leaving her family's island for a life of adventure, so when she catches the eye of the goddess Athena, who reminds her to train as an esteemed priestess in her temple, Many keeps at the chance to see the world beyond her home. In Athens' colorful market streets and the clandestine chambers of the temple, Many flourishes in her role as Athena's favorite acolyte, getting her first taste of purpose and power. But when she is noticed by non-Olympian Poseidon, a drunken night between girl and god ends in violence, and the course of Many's promising future suddenly and irrevocably altered. Comes out on November 18. My next book is How Girls Are Made by Minnie McGinnis. Fallen is a fixer. From planning for 12 to organize her college application, she got it all figured out, except for when her younger sister comes to her with very basic questions about sex. Shocked that she knows so little, and her fellow classmates even less, Fallen decides some practical education is in order, and Fallen isn't above practicing little civil disobedience by creating a secret underground off-campus group. Shelby is a fighter. Having her nose broken is nothing new in her semi-professional career, but this time it's her boyfriend that threw the plunge. Now her phone is blowing up with texts from a new guy who tells her she's perfect, she's special, she's everything he's ever wanted, except for a few small details. Shelby's happy to adjust for him, because isn't that what a healthy relationship is about? Shelby is feeling she doesn't have enough followers and her posts never go viral, no matter how hard she crushes challenges and applies exactly the right filter. But a friendly DM from a good girl just like her points her in the direction of a whole new audience of admirers. Guys who just want to talk, guys who give her the attention she's always wanted. The lives of all three girls intersect in Fallon's secret class, rumors of which her parents up in arms. Fallon needs to keep herself anonymous, Shelby needs to keep her new boyfriend happy, and Joby needs to keep her followers, who keep asking for more. Each girl finds herself trapped in an inescapable situation that will leave one of them dead. Comes out on November 18. My next book, I have talked the first one quite a bit, and this is the Cathedral of Lost Souls. It's number 2 in Hackett Cavendish by Paula Braxton. Hereford, England, 1881. The adventure continues. After the fire and the tumultuous events in the Cathedral Library, Hecate is determined never again to come so close to losing the beloved Mappa Mendu. She has shown herself to be the greatest threat to the incidents, and the plans and ending will stop at nothing to be rid of her. With the help of her archaeologist father and the support of the redoubtable and loyal Inspector Winter, she must take the fight to the enemies. It comes out on November 11. My next book is The Forest of Missing Girls by Nisha Geraldez. The forest is hungry and her family's secret are tangled in the trees. Leah Gregg always hoped to outgrow her fear of the woods surrounding her childhood home. The dark, menacing trees have long been the site of whispered legends and disappearances of girls like her. But after a breakup sends her back to live with her family, the woods feel more sinister than ever. When a teenage girl disappears from their backyard, Leah's childhood fear becomes terrifyingly real. The missing girls are no longer just faces on the news. Now the danger is closer than she imagined, and her younger sister could be next. Comes out on November 11. My next book is The Bridesmaid by Kate Quinn. The Kensingtons invite you to the society wedding of the decade. There's just one hitch, you might not make it out alive. When a celebrity bridesmaid is murdered weeks before the exclusive society wedding, forensic attorney Holly Stone is drafted as an unlikely undercover replacement. As she looks to unpick the lives of the notoriously private Kensington family, glamour averse, Holly discovers a new worst enemy in Bridezilla Adriana. Heir to a multi-million-dollar fortune, Adriana is set on throwing the event of the decade as she won't let anything get in her way. But beneath the veneer of poise and sophistication, Adriana and her bridesmaid have secrets worth killing for. And that comes on November 4th, I forgot to mention. My next book also comes on November 4th is With Friends Like These by Alyssa Lee. A group of Harlem alums have played a secret game for decades, but as the stakes rise, deadly consequences emerge from old ties. Harvard promised them everything: ambition, futures, peers who pushed each other toward their absolute best, and an education that would open doors for the rest of their lives. And though they started out as roommates, Sarah B., Dina, Allie, Wesley, and Claudine soon became family. They had their whole bright lives ahead of them until the senior year when a shocking tragedy changed everything. My next book is Haven't Killed in Years by Amy K. Green. No one is supposed to know how much office work a Grant Tanner is the vanished daughter of a serial killer at Bell Hungary, but low profile and a new name aren't going to cut it when obsessive new killer starts targeting her. Marion Haggerty, the daughter of the notorious serial killer, was only a child when they arrested her father. Ripped from her home and given a new identity, Marion disappeared. 20 years later, Gwen Tanner keeps everyone at a distance, preferring to saturate the world around her but participate in it. It's for her safety and theirs, but when someone starts throwing body parts to her front door, the message is clear: I know who you are. To preserve her secrets, Gwen must hunt down the killer, a journey which immerses her into the twisted world of true crime fandom and makes her uncomfort her past once and for all. Maybe she is capable of deep human connections, but she's not the only one keeping secrets. Will opening herself up to others help her find the killer, or remind her why it was necessary she hide her true self in the first place? Comes out on November 18. My next book is Made You Look by Tanya Grant. Cindy Kent is the ultimate girl. You want her effortless style, her charisma, her hair. You want to be her, you want to be with her. But the trouble with the star is that everyone else looks dull in comparison. Despite Caitlin's social media cunning, it is impossible for her to step out of Cindy's shadow. Even Lucy, Cindy's best friend since before her fame, can't escape her role as a full-time photographer to the influencer. When the women are invited to post content for a secluded new retreat in the Catskills, alongside Cindy's boyfriend Jeff, stylist Nash, and manager Brent, the weekend feels like it will be a fresh start. But an unexpected snowstorm traps the group together with no cell service, no Wi-Fi, and no way out. Comes out on November 18. My next book is Red is Royal Blood by Elizabeth Hart. Ruby has never found a puzzle she couldn't solve. Even though she's destined to spend the rest of her life as a servant to the royal family, her mind itches for a true challenge, but no puzzle could prepare her for the king's decision to name Ruby as the next heir to the throne just before his death. Thrown into the viper's nest of corn, Ruby is forced to contend with the kingdom in crisis, the dead Angry's wife, and the three entitled and annoyingly handsome princes. Then, as if being newly crowned queen wasn't enough, she discovers a note left by the king that claims he was murdered, and that she might be next. Comes out on November 18. My next book is We're Not Safe Here by Renee Tribeca. Wispy Falls tell Water you'll be safe here, but that doesn't seem to be true, because in Wispy Falls, monsters live in the woods, and children go missing, and the bodies are beginning to stack up. A 17-year-old blogger known as Story Manson is determined to get to the bottom of what's wrong in Wispy Falls. A few years ago, his 6-year-old brother went missing in the woods, and one in town seemed to care enough to find him. So now he's investigating why every household participates in something called a blood moon ritual, why creeping sightings are so common, and why everyone goes into the woods, goes missing. If he can't fix the what's wrong with the town, he just might be the next body in the woods. Comes out on November 4th. My next book is The Writing Room by Marcia Agoretta Mickelson. Immediately after high school graduation, 18-year-old Maya is kicked out of her wealthy dad's NYC home. He prides himself on forcing his kids to make their own way in the world. Maya's mom lives in Guatemala, so Maya crashes with friends while walking and trying to land freelance writing gigs. Maya struggles to find her footing until she gets access to a writing room, a shared workspace where she can focus and get to know the intriguing neighbor Jake, who is often there. When she discovers her dad is bankrolling a virtually anti-immigrant candidate for governor, Maya, the daughter of an immigrant, realizes she can't continue quietly accepting his choices. She will have to take a stand, using the voice she's found in the writing room. Comes out on November 4th. My next book is The House Sapphire by Marissa Meyer. Mallory 14 is a fraud. Though she comes from a long line of witches, the only magic she possesses is the ability to see ghosts, which is barely as useful as one would think. She and her sister have maintained a family business, eking out a paltry living by selling bogus spells to gullible buyers and conducting tours of the infamous mansion where the first of the Sapphire murders took place. Mallory is a self-proclaimed expert Count Bastian Sapphire, otherwise known as Monsieur Le Bleu, who brutally killed 3 of his wives more than a century ago. But she never expected to meet Bastian's great-great-grandson to inherit the Sapphire estate. Edmond is handsome, wealthy, and convinced that the 14 sisters are talented as they claim, the perfect mark. When he offers Mallory a large sum of money to rid his ancestral home of Le Bleu's ghost, she can't resist. A paid vacation on Armand's country manor. It's practically a dream come true, never mind the ghost of murdered wives and the monsters that are as common as household pests. Comes out on November 4th. And my last one is Blank Wide the Sea, number 1 in Blank Wide the Sea by Sarah Holland. The seafaring humans of Kirkville have always been plagued by folk, bloodthirsty fae who haunt the seas, sinking ships and cursing bloodlines. Yet, it's only by hunting magical whales that Kirkville can prosper. 19-year-old Annie is heir to the Fairfax Whaling Company, but their family's success came at a cost by which Harping turns Fairfaxes slowly into monsters. And 6 years ago, the shipwreck that killed Annie's parents left her with scales spreading up her arms, claws sprouting from her fingertips. The love of her fiancé Avgus sobered her heart for a while, but when she learns Argus is maneuvering to take over the company, the curse worsens. Feeling her time is running out, she strikes a bargain with a disreputable young captain, half-Finn folk and half-human Silas Prince, on a voyage to hunt males in the far north. Silas will take Annie to Finn Folk Queen, who can lift the curse in return for a promise to end whaling forever. Comes out on November 11th. So those are all the books that are coming in November. There will always be more for sure, but these are the ones that I'm interested in, and yeah, all the goodies are coming. So let me know what you're excited for in November, and please like, comment, subscribe so you're notified every time I post, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!